Squatch dogs.
Welcome to the place where we find the proof you seek. O.C.S.T. Talking cryptids and the paranormal. You hear the whoops, you hear the growls. You watch the woods, you've seen it prowl. Welcome everyone to O.C.S.T.
Let's go.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to O.C.S.T.
Not Bigfoot and stuff. The interview part.
Yeah, this is talking cryptids and the paranormal.
Yes.
And we're glad to see everybody on this Saturday evening. And we had Tim DILLS scheduled for last week, but
Yes.
he had some storms go through his area. So luckily we have him here tonight, and
Yay!
we get to hear some interesting stories and all about his
Adventures.
research and adventures. Yep.
Right. Should we do roll call before we bring
Yeah,
Tim?
let's do the roll call, and then I have a little introductory that we'll read.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so I know we had
Infinite was first.
Yeah,
Whoa,
Infinite
way to go,
7.
Infinite.
Great to see you. And
I'm here. Just
Hey, Catherine.
hey, Catherine. Great to see you. Yeah, Connor's here. He's just
In the
hanging out.
living room. Yeah. Hey, John.
Hey, John.
How's
Hey,
it going, bro?
Good to see you. Let's see.
I believe that's it.
Yep, that's it.
Besides you and me.
There's
we don't count.
there's a few people watching.
Yes,
not
hello,
in the
people
chat.
that are watching.
Excuse me.
Babes, my drink is right there. The
Yeah,
one furthest.
it's right here.
Okay.
All right, so let's. Uh-oh. I lost the notes.
Oh no.
Let's see if I still have them. Nope.
Nope. Well, darn it.
Well, I'll just have to look
We'll
them up
just-
on
we'll just-
here.
I was gonna say we'll just have them come up here, but
I got them on here, so
okay.
I had the notes clear up to the show started.
There's always something. So you guys, I know the weather's been crazy hot, and I just want to do some things first. Prayers for all the wildfires, for the people that are affected by them. Prayers to y'all. I know it's been really hazy and cloudy and smoky up in the north, up by Canada, Minnesota, Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana. So you guys are getting the smoke. You guys just be careful and try not to, well, I can't say not breathe, but the stuff outside is probably not the best for you to breathe in. So prayers for that. And then, of course, everybody affected by the flooding down in Texas. You guys have been hit craziness again down in that area. Prayers for y'all.
Yeah.
Prayers for the guy that got, I don't want to say mauled, but attacked by that bison at a Yellowstone. You guys still pray for him, even though he's been kind of made the laughing emoji meme. It's not funny. It's not. You guys, it was serious, and I'll be praying for that gentleman.
Yeah.
He was there on vacation, spending time with his grandson, looking at the bison. He just got a little too close, and that's not cool. But he still needs prayers, and that's not, I mean.
Yep.
And then the earthquakes that have been happening in the Ring of Fire, you guys, magnitude earthquakes, like 6 and higher.
Yep.
Pray for those people. They don't, I mean, they live in that area, but it's still devastating, no matter what. So sending prayers for those as well.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's it.
All right, so here's a little bit about Tim. I had him leave a little bio for us. So For more than 18 years, Tim DILLS has investigated cryptid reports with a primary focus on Bigfoot. His research has taken him into remote wilderness areas to observe, document evidence, examine tracks and other reported signs, and interview eyewitnesses. Over time, he has developed a practical, methodical approach shaped by patience and direct experience. Over nearly 2 decades of research, Tim reports numerous unexplained encounters and 6 visual sightings. These experiences have reinforced his commitment to honest, open-minded research. Tim's work is driven by a genuine desire to better understand one of North America's greatest mysteries. Whether in the field, analyzing evidence, or sharing his experiences, he remains committed to serious, respectful discussion about the possibility that unknown species may still exist in the wild. His goal is to present his experiences and findings honestly while promoting responsible research and open-minded inquiry. And you can contact him on YouTube and TikTok at it's at TimDills13. So
Sweet. We are excited. We are super excited.
And then also you can find him on YouTube on SASQUATCH RECON and NCI North Carolina Investigates. So.
Sweet.
And then just, if you're on TikTok, just look him up, Tim DILLS.
We are so happy to have Tim.
Yeah, we are.
And we were even talking to him backstage, and he likes to fish. So this is going to be a very fun interview.
Yep.
So without further ado.
All right, let's bring him in.
Without further ado. Are you ready?
Hey guys.
Hey, Tim.
Hello, Tim. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, and I do want to apologize about last week, but you know sometimes things happen that you just can't do nothing about.
You know,
Yeah.
and the thing is that we were actually, we were sincerely really worried. I'm like, okay, where is he? What happened? And so we did go live for a little while on Saturday, waiting to see if we hear from you, and and so we just had to end the little bit of interview, whatever we did. I think John Stewart actually got up in the chat while we were waiting to see if we heard anything from you. So we made the best of it, but we are so glad that nothing was tremendously wrong.
Yeah, me too.
And that you are here with us today. We are happy to have you.
I am tickled to be here. Dwight told me about how great you guys are and everything, and he said, "You want to be on there?" And I'm like, "Well, sure." That sounds like my kind of people.
Oh yeah, it was fun interviewing Dwight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to watch Dwight though, because you get out of the woods and all of a sudden you'll have 5,000 pictures took of you, and you didn't know he took one of them. I mean, he's sneaky that way.
Yeah, that's what me and him would have in common.
Of yourself? You take 10,000 pictures of yourself? No, we just take 10,000 pictures, period, outside.
Yeah.
That's how Dwight is. He'll have everything. And I'm like, well, I'm standing right there. When did you take that picture? I don't remember that picture.
Yeah, I'll show her something, and she's like, "You took that?" I'm like,
I'm one of them. You have to tell me to hit record 15 times, and I'm like, I think I did.
Well, even like I was mentioning earlier, this with it being so warm and hot outside, that we don't go actually into the woods and investigate because of the snakes and ticks and all that stuff that we just really don't want. But we Sasquatch drive, Squatch drive is what we call it, and even then, I'm thinking we're taking upwards about 50 to 100 pictures from our vehicle. We don't get out of the vehicle. We're sitting there driving real slow, and I'm driving real slow, and he's sitting there taking pictures. Ooh, snap, 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 snap. I'm like, oh, good grief. Good grief. Because then we have to get home and look through every picture.
Yeah.
And then if they're on his phone, I'm like, okay, well, send them to me. And so he has to transfer the pictures. It's just fun. It's just fun. But hello, John
that,
P.
that's how we are when we check our audio recorders, because we'll have over 300 hours each time we check it, and you have to sit there and go through every bit of it. And I'll be honest, I don't know how many times the katydids will get to hollering, the crickets are chirping, and I'll wake up about an hour later and I have to back it up and start all over again.
No. So my first question to you is, I'm assuming you're married, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Does the missus go out with you, or is it not her cup of tea?
It's not her cup of tea. I have a friend of ours that goes out with me, Miss Rachel, and I went to school with Miss Rachel's mama,
Okay.
and everything. So she goes with me. I call her my Squatch wife because
Oh,
she goes squatching and paranormal with me. She's teaching me about the paranormal stuff, and but she goes squatching with me and all of that stuff. But my wife's, as long as I don't have to get out of the truck, she went with me one time and we casted a 16-inch track, and that was enough.
so no I can't even say it, I can't say it.
Recreational.
Yes, companionship between you and your wife out squatching, huh?
Not squatching. We'll do a lot of other things. We like going to festivals and
Oh, cool.
we're actually getting ready to go. A week from today, we'll be going to Gatlinburg, Tennessee for the Smoky Mountain one over there. We've not missed a year of it yet, and we're going to go over and see my buddy Martin Groves and Greg Ogles from Relic Films and all of those guys. So
Yeah.
we when me and my wife go squatching, it's to festivals or that other word that I can't think of. That train done took a dirt road. Conferences. Conference. That's what it is. It's a
Conferences.
conference. I've spoke at a bunch of them, and I can't remember what it is.
Well, that's cool. I mean,
I ain't got all timers. I've just got part timers. Part of the time it sticks, and part of the time it don't.
Yep, I'm familiar with that.
but here we call it sometimers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimers he can remember, sometimers he can't. But, well, that's cool. Well, tell the missus that we say hello.
Yeah.
I sure will.
And then I hope you guys have a blast in Gatlinburg.
Mm-hmm.
We
Right?
will.
You said Gatlinburg, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Oh.
where we live at, we're just across the mountain from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So we can go across the mountain and be in Gatlinburg. I can go south and be in Georgia and South Carolina in just a few minutes. So
Oh, wow.
we're actually in a pretty good spot.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even fair. I have to go about 2.5 miles, or not 2 miles, 2.5 hours to get to mountains.
Yeah.
You just go down the road.
I just walk outside. I mean, outside my house, because we've got them, and they are times in the middle of deer season when you
Oh,
started bow hunting in September, and it's now gun season in December, and you've climbed them mountains 500,000 times. You're like, Lord, I wish I was somewhere where it was flat.
no, you don't. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, we're the opposite. It's like we see nothing but flat, and then we're like, okay, where's the mountains? Oh, there they are. And then she's like, mountain.
Mountain. Even okay, so it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, we went to Muskogee, or out by Muskogee, and it's hilly, okay, and so in some of those hills are decent size,
Hi, CP.
and I'm like, oh look, mountains, and they're saying it's hills. They're hills, Mom. They're hills. They're hills. No, They're mountains, just not as tall.
I will admit when I do go and get out of them, I like driving back up the road and seeing them start to form, and it's like I'm almost home.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So you
We
get it.
we went out to Missouri dove hunting one time, and I was like, how flat can you get? I mean, it was flat, flat. You see a red light of a night, you see a red light, and you think, all right, I'm getting ready to come up on. You drive for 5 more minutes, and you still ain't made it to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the flat you can see forever.
Yeah, that's the feeling we get when we drive up into Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
What are you saying?
Kansas is flat. It's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but it's flat.
Just wait until you get to Minnesota, then all you see is lakes.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Yeah.
No.
See, I was born in Iowa, so a lot of rolling hills,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of flat fields of nothing but corn.
And pig farming.
Yeah.
That's one thing that surprised me. We went out when we did go out to Missouri dove hunting. We get out there and here's these 1,000-acre cornfields, and I'm like, man, you must really have the deer. And he's like, yeah, you said deer around here, you've really seen something. And I'm like, you're kidding. And he's like, no, we don't have that many deer. And you sit there and you're sitting with your back against corn where they ain't cut it yet, and the doves are flying, and you hear corn rustling. Now, automatically, I'm going back to deer. I'm like, all right, deer's going to walk out. Deer's going. No, never did see a deer.
Now you have to go a little bit further north into Illinois. They have
Or Iowa.
cornfields everywhere,
Mhm.
and more deer than you can imagine. It's
Yeah.
like they
They
come out
they
by
had
open-
some land somewhere in the Ozarks. He was telling me, and that's where they went to deer hunt.
Yeah.
And their deer camps and stuff.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Mountains. The Ozarks. The Wichitas and the Wachitas. Yes. Mountains.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get off the mountain subject because I really want a mountain now.
So Tim, tell us a little bit more about your background, how you got started.
Oh, okay. I actually got started. I was outside cleaning a deer, and it's funny how all this started. I love telling it because my buddy, he's passed on now and everything, but I like telling it because it was so funny how it happened. I was outside cleaning a deer, and you know us country folks, we laid back. We don't get no big hurry, nothing like that. And this fella pulls up from Florida, and he comes over to me, and you know I'm skinning, trying not to cut myself. And hi, my name's Newscord. I just moved in the house up here, Buggy, and I see you like to hunt and fish, and I do too. And I see you in about 2 weeks. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, you know. And he turned around and walked off. And my wife said, who in the world was that? And I said, well, I got his name was Newsom Corbett, and they just moved in up above us. And he likes to hunt and fish, and he'll see me in 2 weeks. And true to his word, he about 2 weeks he pulled in the yard, said, grab your fishing poles, let's go. And me and him become best friends up until he passed away in August of 21.
Oh wow.
Oh, I'm sorry
Yeah.
to hear your friend passed away, buddy.
Yeah, he got cancer and was real sick right then. So as much as I miss him, I'm glad he ain't hurting or nothing. But
Right.
But anyway, we got to know each other, and he said his wife's family owned 65 acres behind a Forest Service gate up here, and not the land that they moved in on. They moved in up above me, and this was on the other end of the county. And he said, let's make that our place to hunt. And he said, if you'll help me put up feeders and cameras and all that stuff, we'll keep it going and make us a hunting place out of it. And I told him, I said, man, that'd be awesome. And they had one feeder already up that they would, on that property, they may come in twice a year on weekends and fill it up from Florida, and then whenever they come in, they'd put some more in it and all that and put the cameras out. Well, we went up there and he got his, in 2008, you still had those 35 millimeter cameras. And he uh, took the card and went to Walmart and got them developed. And the very first picture on that he saw was a set of big old horns that was coming around the tree in front of the camera. And he started freaking out. He told his wife, said, "Get your stuff. I've got to get in the wood. That's the weirdest set of deer horns. They don't have them kind of deer around here. I don't know what it is, but they ain't got them." And she said, "Well, did you look at any of the other pictures?" "I don't have to look at no other pictures. Get your stuff, get in the truck. I've got to go. I'm getting him a tree stand. I ain't coming down till till I kill it." And he's getting beanies and beanie weenies and crackers and all of that stuff. And she said, "Well, have you looked at any of the pictures?" "I don't need to see no other pictures." And that went on for about 5 minutes in the middle of Walmart. And then he looked at the next picture, and there was his grown boys with their friends. They had come up and taken a set of fallow deer horns out of the cabin and stuck them in front of the camera. But there they was, all holding them and letting him know that they had got him real good. And he told me when I started helping him up there, he said, "We have got to pay them back." And he told me the story and everything. And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, I'll tell you what we'll do." I said, "Back in the 70s, my dad and one of his buddies was deer hunting in December with snow on the ground, and they found some big old human footprints that my daddy's buddy was 350 pounds, about 6'4", and he could put his foot inside the track." And didn't think nothing back then. We didn't think nothing about it being a Bigfoot. We was just thinking some idiots running around up here barefooted and everything. So I was telling him, I said, "They come across that big old track, so I'll make us a set." So I did. I made some 18-inch tracks and took my Grimble and rounded them and made them real good to where it looked like a real footprint. And I bolted them to the bottom of them, some old boots that I had. And his boys had a band called the Corbett Brothers Band. And they had played that night, and they didn't get in till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So we know they wouldn't get up till 1 or 2 the next day. And we snuck up there and stomped around in the mud and broke some big limbs and all of that stuff, and just making it look like something had tore the world up. And I told him, I said, "I can't be," he told me, he said, "We'll have to come back around noon, 1 o'clock whenever they get up, because they're wanting to shoot guns and all of that stuff." And I told him, I said, "Well, I can't be with you, because if I do, then I'm going to start laughing, because I can't hide it."
Right.
And he said, "That ain't no problem." So he went back up there with them, and they walked right by it. Didn't even see the biggest track. I mean, it was in the mud, and I was sort of offended they didn't see it, because we thought we'd really done good. And they walked right by it, and he said, "No, you all ain't getting me on this one." And they said, "What?" And he said, "This track right here. You got me on the deer horns. Yins ain't getting me on this." And they backed up. "Oh, Lord, Dad, that's a Bigfoot track. There's Bigfoots on the property. We'll make millions. We're going to go get every camera that Walmart's got, and we're going to put them up. We'll get pictures of it. We'll be famous, and we'll make millions of dollars off of it. Do you know that's a Bigfoot track?" And I mean, they bought it hook, line, and sinker. And they had to play that night, and they told their dad, said, "We're going to cancel our gig, and we're going to stay in the woods with the cameras and all of that stuff." And he said, "No, you give the man your word. You're going to honor your word."
Right.
So they did, and Newsom went to their gig with them. I did. I snuck back up there and got my boots, and I turned chairs over on the porch. I threw clothes all over everything. I mean, it looked like a tornado had come through. And he got home, and he said about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, he gets a call. Dad, Bigfoot's been back, and he's saying in your face. And they were just freaking out. And the next day, the bass player said, I've not known your dad that long, but that sounds like something he would do. And they called, and then their mom answered and said, Mama, is Daddy Bigfoot? And she said, hang on, you can talk to him. And they, Daddy, you Bigfoot? He said, that payback's rough, ain't it, guys? And so it was a big ha-ha moment, you know. But then things started happening on the property. The very first encounter we had, the wild hogs was coming in and rooting the yard up. So we got up in the top bedroom loft of the cabin and took the screen off the window and opened it up. And I got up there with my crossbow because we didn't want to shoot after dark, you know, behind the Forest Service gate. And then here comes all the game wardens and all of that thinking you're spotlighting. And I just took my crossbow, and we're sitting up there, and 3 raccoons come out in the yard. And they've been there 5-10 minutes, and then all of a sudden they run back into the bushes. And on this property, there's 2 creeks that run together to make a Y, and the cabin's sitting right in between them. And the one creek that the raccoons was in, it's just a marshy place where the reservoir runs over and that kind of stuff. And but they run back into the bushes, and something grabs it and starts killing it. And I don't know if you've ever heard of coon squall, but they make a terrible racket when they're fighting.
Oh yeah.
In about 3 or 4 seconds, and you just hear a great big whoa, and everything went dead quiet. And I looked at him, I said, buddy boy, I said, that noise, that I don't know what that is. I said, I've been around enough like bears to know that wasn't a bear roar, you know. And I said, something ain't right. And then it started whistling. And I told him, I said, buddy boy, I said, this ain't making no sense. I said, first it killed that coon in a couple of seconds. It didn't have no problem with it. And these were big full-grown coons. And I told him, I said, there was no dog bark. It wasn't a dog. There wasn't a bear. Wasn't a cat, because it was too deep and that kind of stuff for it to be one of the panthers. And I told him, I said, I don't know what this is. And it kept whistling just every few seconds. It would whistle.
Oh, yeah.
And we decided we was going to leave because nothing was coming back out or nothing like that, and the hog wasn't coming. So when we turned the light on in the house, it quit whistling. And I told him, I said, I don't know what that is, but it's nothing that I've ever run into. And like I said, I've seen the black panthers, I've seen the mountain lions. We've got them on trail camera. We've got red wolves. I've seen those. I've heard those howl. And I told him, I said, it ain't none of those things. And we left and started noticing in our trails we was cutting up to where we would put our deer stands. We would have no weather come through whatsoever. It'd be just a beautiful day, and then come back and there'd be a pine top that big around, broke out of a tree and broke down in the ground, and no pine trees around. They would bring it in. They brought in one white oak limb that they'd rung off, and we never did find where it come from, but it was so big we had to take a fire saw in there and cut it up.
Oh, wow.
And things started happening, stuff like that, and then we started getting yelled at and screamed at and all of that stuff. We was filling up one of the feeders, and all we ever carried was little 22 pistols to shoot snakes with and that kind of stuff. And we was filling one of the feeders up, and something at the time we didn't know what it was, but as soon as it finished, we pretty much knew. But sounded like Forest Service airplane or something.
Yeah.
Dive bomb did that. Wow. Started out low and then raised up real high and then tapered off over about 30, 35, 40 seconds.
Oh, wow.
And it was so loud your body vibrated. And I thought, well,
Wow.
good Lord, that plane's, it's going to fall on top of us.
Mhm.
But when it tapered off, it was about 50, 60 yards above us. It was one of the Bigfoots yelling.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, buddy boy, these little snake guns we got ain't going to handle that thing. And so that's how we got, I got into it, was on his property. And like I say, on his property, we had all kind of encounters. When we've got so many black bears that when we put a feeder up, we would find us 2 trees and suspend a cable on it and put pulleys on it so we could pull it up and down. And then we would take 8, 10-foot tin and put around the base of the tree up about 3 feet so that the bears can't climb up it to get to the feeders.
That's
And
crazy.
we come in and they would reach up to the top of it and pull the tin loose from the trees. And there's no way that a bear could have even got anywhere close to it. And because you would see where the bears was at, they was down 4, 5, 6 feet where they stand there and try to claw out tin and get traction on it. And it never did work. But that's how I got started in on it. I was going to kill one. After we found out that it was for sure Bigfoot and all of that. And we got a couple of pictures off our trail cam. And then I went and talked to, I've got Cherokee in my family. I've got an uncle that's full-blooded Cherokee. And I went and talked to some of the people at the Cherokee reservation here. And I talked to this lady and I said, ma'am, I don't mean no disrespect. I'm just trying to get some answers. Did your people have anything to do with the Bigfoot? And she said, no. She said, because they're cannibals. And now whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's what she told me. If their people did or not, I don't know, but that's just what she told me.
Mhm.
And I said, well, I'm finding limbs twisted and all of that stuff, and I'm just trying to find out what it is. She said, oh, that's little people. I said, ma'am, this is laurel limbs that big around that they just take and twist it open like that. She said, that ain't little people. I was like, no, if it was, that was the stoutest little person I ever seen. But she told me that they didn't have nothing to do with them because they was cannibals. And so this was going on, and I thought, well, and I'm not bragging, and I'm honestly not, but I ain't gonna say I'm good at hunting, but I'm blessed at hunting, because the Bible says every good gift and every perfect gift comes from the Lord. So it ain't nothing I'm doing. He just blesses me with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I will kill one. And once I kill it and put it on the slab, that's the end of it. There's no more debating whether they're real or not. And I went up to where my tree stand was. I'd killed a deer in there the week before, and my buddy was about 300-400 yards from me, and I'm sitting there on the Tuesday, and I hear something start talking, and I'm hard of hearing, so I could tell that what they were saying, but what they're saying didn't make no sense to me. And I told him, I texted my buddy, and I said, somebody's on your property. And he said, well, how did they get in? I said, I don't know. And I said, but it's getting dark. We'll wait. They'll have to turn the flashlights on to get out.
Yeah.
And I said, I can hear them talking, but what they're saying don't make no sense. I said, it honestly sounds like Native American with monkey gibberish mixed in with it. And I sat there for probably 20 minutes listening to two of them talk back and forth. And we sat till way after dark and no lights come on, nothing like that. And my buddy come down to me and we left. And Thursday of the same week, we was back up there, same time of day, right when the deer will start moving, they go to talking again. And that's when I found, realized what was going on.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided right then that if they're smart enough to carry on a conversation, I don't need to kill them just to prove that they're real.
Right.
And since then, of course, I found out that the government would take it from you and cover it up and all that stuff, and you wouldn't get to prove it no way. So, but at the time, I didn't know that, and
Right.
so I just thought, well, if they're that intelligent, I'm not going to try to kill one unless it's self-defense or something like that. Which is, I mean, we've been bluff charged and that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
that's the only time I've ever put my hand on my sidearm, and but we just stood still and let her do her thing. She went and got the little one and moved on. So,
Yes. To explain to our viewers exactly what a bluff charge is.
We was at one of our research areas, and at the time it wasn't a research area, it's just one of the places that I hunted. And a bluff charge is they will act like they're coming after you to try to get you buffaloed to where you could run, and wouldn't. The only thing is, she got between us and our vehicle, so we didn't have nowhere to run. We just pretty much had to stand there. But she was up on the ridge, and we'd done heard a wood knock and that kind of stuff. And but she was up on the ridge, and I've never heard them make that kind of sound. And she come around and got down in below us, and she was just far enough to where you couldn't see her, but she was going like that, and it was so loud your body just vibrated. And I put my hand on my pistol. I'm like, old gal, I'll shoot one of my buddies in the leg, I guess, because it ain't gonna hurt you, and I'll take off running. But I just glad I didn't have to shoot neither one of my buddies that was with me. But
It's a good thing.
but she finally calmed down and went off. And the funny thing is, she let the back of my Dwight. It was Dwight and his girlfriend before she passed away, Robin Moonshadow, was who was with me. And they actually let the back of Dwight's vehicle down when they went by our vehicles. And I was going to show them a pine tree. I'd fixed my dad a place to hunt around an old logging road, and when me and my dad come back, pine tree about the size of a telephone pole, and you can see 4 fingers wrapped around this side and thumb around this side, where it pulled the bark and everything off.
Oh wow!
And that's the reason I took Dwight and Robin in there, was to show them that. So once the female come through and got her little one, we went on and did what we wanted to do, and we dropped off down where she went, and we found a nest down there, and that had been woven together and all of that stuff. And we found some little bitty tracks that wasn't probably 4 or 5 inches long.
Oh, wow.
And from where she was at to where the nest was at was a direct line of sight. So whenever we started in between her and the little one down there, that's the reason she come off the mountain.
You were talking about how the bark was ripped off, right? Where you could tell something had stuck its thumb in there, and the first time I ever took her out on a Bigfoot search, we went into the parallel forest down in southwest Oklahoma, and probably within the first 5 minutes, walked up on a tree, a really tall cedar, right? And I noticed that the bark's stripped away, and it was at about 6 feet where they stripped it, and I looked real close and I saw a thumbprint that was embedded into the bark on the side of it, and it was lifted. So yeah, we've experienced that very same thing.
Yeah, and not that one, but another area that me and Dwight have. We was going in there one morning and we found a white pine, and it looked like something had just took it and grabbed it and bear hugged it and pulled all the limbs up, and right against the tree they just busted open, and you could see where they'd taken their finger and made a line for that sap to run down and everything. And at first I didn't understand what it was, and we was at the South Carolina Bigfoot Festival. We had our evidence booth put up, and people was coming through, and I was talking to this woman about it, and she said, "Well, you know what we use pine limbs for?" And I said, "No, ma'am." She said, "We feed them to our goats because it's a natural dewormer." And the best I can figure is that, with all these wild hogs and stuff, that they was using that to get the sap out of it as a dewormer, or maybe even to put it on cuts and scrapes, and that we've actually got hair samples out of it, and the hair samples, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. You could look at it under a microscope and it would have like a gray section, and then it would go translucent, and then it'd have a red section, then it'd go translucent, it'd have a black section, all in one hair. And that was the weirdest thing. I mean, you think you're going to look at it and there's going to be this black hair and all that, and no, it wasn't nothing like that. And Miss Robin took them to Canada up there with her, and whoever she had to test it said that it was actually waterproof. They could not get it to soak up water of any kind.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And they said that it was, it was so tightly grown together that it just wouldn't let water in.
Wow, that's interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I've found some hairs around here. I haven't had them tested yet, but I want to be doing that soon before they start degrading it all. But
yeah. Right now we have 3 samples at North Carolina State University being tested.
Oh, cool.
And just going off of what Dr. Jeff Melgren talked about, the hair not having a solid color, or whatever that, I won't say. Well, I can't even say what I want to say because it won't come out. But anyway, that solid color.
Yeah.
That was one of the ways of knowing that it wasn't, that it was Bigfoot hair, because evidently he's looked at it and it don't have that solid color in it like human hair and most animals have.
Wow.
Right, and usually the Bigfoot hair, the supposed Bigfoot hair, would have an entire root. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of hairs that you find, they're broken, so they don't have the complete structure, and those are ones that usually get tossed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good thing was where they had been in that sap was holding it good. And the bad thing is, I think we went to it too many times because they quit using it.
Oh yeah.
And unless they have since I was in there during deer season. I quit hunting in there because I messed their deer drive up one morning. I
Oh
was
yeah.
going in. I was going in bow hunting, and I was. I when I walk, I always use a green light. I don't use a regular flashlight. I use a green light because it don't spook the deer and
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. And I'd walked almost all the way in there, and I like probably another 40 yards. But it was starting to get that time of morning where you can see enough, good enough to walk.
Mm-hmm.
So I cut my light off and I got on up to where I usually said that. And here come my doe down the ridge to me, and her eyes was about that big around, and her tongue was out, and you could tell she was panicked. And she
Mm-hmm.
come run down almost to me and looked at me, stopped, turned around, and run back up the hill. She'd gone probably 150 yards up the hill, then turn around and come back down. She
Mm-hmm.
done that like 5 times. And I thought, what's this stupid thing to do? In my brain, I ain't thinking nothing about Bigfoot and all of that. And I'm, well, what's that? So went ahead and got sat down and had my crossbow, and I thought she runs back down here again. I tried to get a shot at her, but she stopped about halfway, about 70, 50 to 70 yards, somewhere around in there. And she would look up the hill at something and then look at me. And I finally lost sight of her. And about an hour and a half later, around the top of the clear cut that's in there, I hear, oh, I mean, they started yelling just like they was cussing me out. And the only thing I could figure was they was doing that deer drive down that ridge, and the one that should have been down there to intercept it had to go hide because I came in. And I left that area alone because I had other places to deer hunt until this year.
Mm-hmm.
And this past year, I went back in there, and I honestly think they knew it was me because they would come in behind me and throw a rock, and then they'd stand up there and break sticks. They wasn't acting threatening or nothing. Just like we're still here, you know.
Yep.
And I honestly do believe that they knew that it was me coming back. And I can't swear to it, so I don't say that it definitely was, but I saw something that was solid white, and I could just see the top of its head.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hunting a pine thicket, and it rolls over and goes into our research area, and I see something white, but it don't go up and down. It's just like it's on rails going down that ridge, and all I can see is just it looks like the top part of its head from about right here up, and it just goes out of sight. And I want to say that it was one, but without seeing the whole thing, I can't say that it was. But
Right.
it sure did have that real smooth, no head bobbing. I know it wasn't a squirrel, nothing like that, because it was too quiet. And it was, but it didn't up and down or nothing. It just stayed until it went out of sight.
Yeah.
And
Well, one of our people in chat have a question for you. It says, have
Okay.
you ever had a negative experience with Bigfoot? Negative experience.
no, not really. I mean, I've had rocks thrown at me. I've had sticks thrown and yelled at and screamed at and all of that stuff, but not really. Well, unless you count them turning their cameras up and audio recorders up. If that counts, then I've had a lot of it. But we actually lost 4 cameras this year in one research area because they would come in and poke I call it the trigger eye, whatever that part of the camera is called. They will come in and bust that part out of it. The rest of the camera is fine, just that one little thing.
Yeah.
Because it's the red camera or the
The light.
light.
Yeah.
The red
And-
infrared light.
And that's the thing. It's not the ones that light up, to take the picture. It's the one that puts the grid out
Oh,
for it to get trilled.
Yeah.
And I was thinking I might have one of them still over there, but we had 4 of them done like that this year in the same area. And I actually they messed up some because on one of my trail cameras, I'll take and get a let me grab this right quick. It's just
Sure.
right here.
All right. Yeah, while he's gone, I'm going to remind everybody to please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and then hit that notification bell.
This right here is a flag pole holder.
Mm-hmm.
You mount this, put the screws through here, and then put your flagpole here. Well, I use it to get my trail cameras off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 6'1", and I can take a 6-foot handle, so I can get them up, 12, 13 feet, and then I'll ratchet strap them to the tree. And
nice.
I'll take and put the handle in there, but then I'll take zip straps and zip strap my camera to this part, and then that way I can, if I need to change the angle on it or whatever, I can.
Yeah.
And but I got on video this year a big hairy arm coming up. We kept noticing that the one camera kept getting messed with. It didn't matter what I did. That one camera on the game trail would always get messed with. And when we'd come in, it would always be pulled down to the ground. And luckily I got you can see a big hairy arm coming up and under it, and then it starts pulling it around the tree.
Oh, yeah.
So I was lucky to get that before they tore that camera up. But we thought, all right, we're going to outsmart them, which I know wasn't going to work to start with. Because about the first 2 years on my buddy's property, them stupid things has done this, them stupid. And after about 1.5 years, 2 years, I learned I was the stupid one of the bunch. And but we come up with this harebrained idea that we're going to put we got the one camera that keep pulling down on this side. We've got another camera, both on the pole up about 12, 13 feet. And this one on the back side is watching a dog toy we hung up in a tree. So we've got one on each side of it, and my buddy's got one up maybe 30 yards facing the one that it wasn't that far. It maybe not 30 yards, 30 feet, facing the one that keeps getting messed with.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the one on the backside, it had never got messed with. So we got that one, his facing that camera. I put one over to the side to watching both cameras. And I thought, now then, gosh, Gertie, you try to figure that out. And I come back, and the one that ain't never been messed with pulled down the dog toys down, and I was like, okay, I got you this time. One picture it's up, next picture it's down, and there ain't nothing in between.
Oh.
How it done it, I have no idea. So I'm about to give up on the whole camera. It's just a toy anymore.
It's just a toy for them. It's a toy for them. Not.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a very expensive toy for you, but
Yeah.
a toy for them. Anyway, another question for you. John Stewart asks, have you ever seen a baby or a young Bigfoot?
I've only seen the tracks, but the guys in my group have seen them. In one of our research areas, we was going up, and we nicknamed this place the playground. They had carried in trees and laid them up in like a jungle gym, where they could run up this one, and you could tell that they had been in there a lot, because everywhere else the weeds was up waist high, but they had been in there so much everything was patted down and knocked down, and so we noticed that, and we go to look at it, and my buddy looks up the hill and sees one take off. And when this one takes off up the hill, another small one takes off down the hill, past my other buddy. And so I've seen their tracks. This we found one time where a small one had set at the edge of a mud hole and put its feet in the mud hole, and you could see and there ain't no other way to see it. You can see its butt crack where it settled in the mud, and the mud come up in between each cheek. And I mean, the little old cheeks wasn't as big as my hand, but little old foot maybe wasn't even 6 inches long.
Oh wow!
And you can see where it had sat there and played in that mud hole. And then as it walked out this road, it and the female had walked side by side. The little one was beside of it, and she had her foot was probably 12 inches long, something like that. And I'm talking 10, 11 miles back into the woods. So there's nobody going to be in there walking in a 1 foot straight in front of the other that far back with no shoes on. I mean, I know they talk about us hillbillies, but we ain't that dumb. We got enough sense to wear shoes every once in a while. But that and all of that stuff I was putting, I was keeping it, and I ain't saying the government done it, but I had 14 years of stuff that I had put up, and my whole computer crashed. And the only reason I think it might have been the government, and I ain't saying it was, but I got warned just a few weeks before that in Alabama. And this guy, I don't know if you have heard of him or not, Tim Coonbo Baker.
Yeah.
He said, well, have they been to see you yet? And I said, who's that? And he said, the government. And I said, well, they ain't going to come see me then. What for? I'm just an old hick up in the hills. They don't even know I'm alive. And everybody, when we would go to the festival and stuff, are you on social media? Yeah, I'm on Facebook. No, are you on social? Yes, I'm on Facebook. That's the only thing I know is social media. Are you on TikTok? What's TikTok? And my son, I'll get him on there. So I started up my TikTok stuff, and I finally got enough followers I could go live. And I told my boy, I said, we'll do a live TikTok, and then just answer questions and that kind of stuff. And so we get my laptop, and I've been promoting it for about 2 weeks, and it got the night before my laptop was fine. I take it out from beside my recliner, take it into the kitchen so we can sit at the kitchen table and do the live thing, and it just sits there and spins.
Oh,
and so we both got on our cell phones and was doing. We done it. He would look at the questions on his cell phone, and I'd answer them and that kind of stuff. And the next day, I took it to the computer place here in town, and he said, "Man," he said, "I can't save nothing on it." He said, "It's fried. I can't get a thing off of it." I told him, I said, "That's all right. I've got everything backed up on the flash drive in the table beside my recliner." And so he puts me a new hard drive in it and gets it back up and running, and I'm actually using it now. But he got it back up and running, and I get home, take my flash drive out, put it in there. There's all my folders, years, and I do it by months and years and areas and that kind of stuff. And I go open them up. There's not a picture in none of them.
Oh, wow.
Are you kidding?
There was one picture in one folder. So 14 years of pictures and stuff just down the drain, and I was like, okay, well, time to start over.
I'm not going to say anything, but I've had a few pictures disappear.
He's had the same thing.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, damn. But, it happens. It
does.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And but to date, I have seen 6 of them. I got a picture, and this was from me and Dwight. This one was where I messed up the deer drive,
Oh yeah.
and I zoomed it in, and hopefully you can see it. I can't never figure his camera out on this thing, but you can
Mm.
see, you can actually see the eyeball right
Yep.
there,
Yep.
and the other one right there.
Yep.
You can see the top of the head up here. Hard to work backwards, but the top of the head's up there,
Oh yeah. Yeah. We can see it real good.
and but that one followed us in there. It was about a mile and a half in and a mile and a half back out.
Oh
That
wow.
was the first one that I'd ever seen, and we was walking in, and the old logging road that we walked come down to made a curve, and
Mhm.
this thing had got behind a big berm of dirt, and no, it's one of them days when you know something's there. There's no birds chirping, there's no squirrels running around, everything's quiet, and we smelled it. And
Mhm.
this is when we, even though we'd smelled the other ones, this is when we learned that they don't smell all the time. They can do it like a skunk. They can
Right.
do it when they want to.
Yeah.
And
And then the fact that they don't all have complete ape features. Like you
mhm,
showed that picture there. The face was more of a human like
mhm,
looked like to me. So
yeah,
you know, there's a lot of people out there. Well, it doesn't look like a Bigfoot because it doesn't look like an ape. Well,
not
yeah,
all of them do.
they don't.
I mean, not every person looks the same either.
Right.
You know. But we're standing there talking about it, and I just see something just barely flicker, just move real quick. And I told him, I said, something's moving in that clear cut. And it was in springtime and wasn't good and green yet. And we're standing there. Then it does it again. And I told him, I said, there's definitely something moving in that clear cut. And he took his camera, good old Dwight with his camera. I'm glad he had it, but he took it in and zoomed in and done a video.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
And then when he got home, he sent that to me. He said, "You see anything in this?" And I seen it. I mean, to me, it jumped out like a red flag. And I said, "It looks like a booger's watching us." And he said that was from the from where we'd stopped. And then the next time we went in there, we went up there and found this big berm of dirt where they'd logged it, they'd dug it up. And there's also some old mica mines in there.
Oh yeah.
And that thing, berm of dirt, I could get behind it and you couldn't see me nowhere. And this thing was just peeking up over it, watching us go around the road.
Oh wow.
And that was the first one I ever seen. The next one, it walked out. I was going bow hunting in another part of the county, a place called Rainbow Springs, and I was going in there bow hunting. I'm walking up the ridge and going to get up top because it's flat up top, and I've
Mm-hmm.
got an old growed up clear cut to my right, and big woods on my left, and I get up and I start to get in, walking up that ridge, and I start to get in a road I need to follow. And all of a sudden, out from behind a big old white oak tree, one steps out. It might have been 20 feet from me. And it done about 5 steps and turns and looks at me. And then all of a sudden, it drops down on all fours and takes off. And I mean, I could see probably close to 100 yards through the woods.
Yeah.
And the first thing I thought was, are there more of them? Because I'd done looked at it and knew exactly what I was looking at. And I'm like, I ain't got nothing but this crossbow because I'd never had any encounters over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, I wonder if there's any more. And what time it turned for me to look at the tree to see if anything else was coming, and turned around and looked back, and I can't find it. It's gone completely out of sight.
Oh,
But when it took off, the thing that I remember, the funniest part was it looked like a hyena because the arms in front was so much longer than the back legs.
Mm-hmm.
That its front end was up here and its back end was down here, sort of like a hyena's got the shorter back legs.
Yeah.
And it would take its two front arms and it would grab and pull like this, and then it would push with its feet.
Hmm.
And then I mean I ain't never seen nothing move that fast in my life.
Oh wow.
And
cool.
that was the second one I saw. I go to this place that is one of my research areas now, actually where all the cameras and audio recorders are getting messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And I go in there hunting, and it's actually I'd say within a quarter of a mile of where my dad and his friend found those tracks back in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And, but they'd come in and done a big clear cut, and I thought, well, I'm going to go in there and hunt. And I've never heard crows up there. It's way up on the very top of the mountains. We got ravens.
Mm-hmm.
You hear ravens holler and that kind of stuff, but I've never heard a crow up there. And I get up there, and it's late December, between about right before Christmas, and our bow season had opened back up. So I get up there, and I'm sitting there, and the fog starts rolling in, and the clouds set down on the mountain. I can't see but about maybe 30 yards.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden I hear something do one single crow call, just one time. And I was like, that don't even sound like a crow. And I got a hold of Dwight and got him to come up, and that's one of our research areas we're still using today. I went in, it was December the 1st of 23. I went in, and it was during gun season, and I went in and changed my audio recorders out and my trail cameras, and I come back out, and I looked at that clear cut, and I looked down at the bottom and thought, I need to find somewhere to hunt till dark, because it wasn't a few hours till dark. And I looked down there, and I see some big old horned trees where a buck had horned them, and I thought, shoot, that's as good a place as any. I'm right here. And I sat on some logs where they had logged it, and they'd piled the brush up, and I was sitting there, and I thought I heard a rock come through, and I thought, well, probably not. It's probably just a woodpecker. But looking back, I think I was just trying to tell myself that it wasn't a rock.
Yeah.
I sat there for about an hour because I was reading my Bible on my phone, and I usually try to read about an hour. And I'm sitting there, just reading. I'll look up and look around and all that stuff. And I got through reading, and I put my phone up, and that feeling hit me like something's watching me. And I turned around and looked up on the hill about 100 yards away from me, and there stands one. And I can see from everything but its right shoulder. I can't see it because it's behind the tree. And it don't try to hide. And I'm looking at it, and when you see one of these things, the first thing is, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? So once I looked, and yeah, that's definitely, and it didn't, like I say, it didn't try to hide, it didn't try to do nothing. And so I get my phone out, and I went from the old flip phones to an iPhone, and I'm trying to get it to zoom, and it won't zoom like I want it to. And so I lay it down, and I thought, well, I want to get a good visual of its face. So I'm watching it over my shoulder, and as soon as I was going to pick my gun up, I wasn't going to shoot it, but I was just wanting to look through the scope, because I got up to a 24 power scope on my rifle. I mean, I could have done a higher analysis with it if I needed to, and I was wanting to get that good visual look. And I'm watching it, and as soon as it sees me put my hand on my gun, it steps behind the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And now I can't see nothing but its left shoulder.
Right.
And I picked my gun up, and thinking back, I wish I'd never done it because I didn't want it to think I was going to hurt it. And honest to goodness, and I ain't joking, I've played that through my mind a million times, and I wish I'd have never touched my gun because I think they was starting to get to the point to where they was accepting me coming in there.
Yeah.
And so I put my gun down, and like I say, I can only see its left shoulder now, and it won't move. And I thought, well, I turned my hat around and where it's looking this way, but I'm watching out my peripheral, and it goes from standing up to all fours again. But this one army crawled,
Oh
just
yeah.
like this, and it army crawled from one clump of trees to another clump, and then from that clump back across the little old knoll back into my research area.
Oh wow.
Well, they're asking, Tim. They're asking for your YouTube, for your YouTube. Do you put anything on YouTube, or are you strictly on TikTok?
I do. I put them on YouTube and TikTok. The same things. Once I load them to TikTok, then I'll just put them on my YouTube, and it is Tim Dills 13.
Tim Dills 13. All right.
Uh-huh.
Let me find it because everybody's wanting your link.
I think that's what it is. I hope it is because I've been telling everybody that.
Let's see.
Well, you have your
I found you.
Sasquatch Recon, right?
Yeah, Sasquatch Recon is with me, Jerry Millwood, Dwight Campbell, and Bob Trent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The way I met those guys, I didn't know nothing about. I mean, I was researching, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was taking pictures, and bringing them home and showing the wife and kids and all that stuff, and saving them. And there's a group here in North Carolina called Bigfoot 911,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
and they was actually on our local news.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm going to get a hold of them. So I get a hold of them and on their Facebook page, and I put what I was experiencing. And Dwight and Bob got a hold of me. Hey, we'd like to go out with you sometime. Do you mind? And I was like, Lord, no. I ain't got nobody else to go, so it'd be nice to have somebody. And so they tell me they'll meet me at our Walmart. Well, I'm up there at Walmart, and I get a text from my mom on the phone with my wife, and I get a text said, look for a black SUV.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen it pull up, and I told them what I was driving my Tacoma I had at the time, and all of a sudden here up pulls this blacked out SUV, big Suburban. And I was on the phone with my wife. I said, if I go missing, I'm in a blacked out Suburban somewhere. That's all I know. But I've become great friends with Bob and Dwight, and they helped me, get my better research. I'll put it that way. How to build our audio recorders and that kind of stuff, and get me to filming. And if I can remember to hit record, I don't know how many times Dwight will do something, and then I'll get home and I forgot to hit record.
I dropped it right there.
Mm-hmm.
So just let you know that I dropped both of your YouTube both of your YouTube links, the Tim Dills 13 and the North Carolina or the Sasquatch Recon. I've actually dropped both of them for you. So
thank you.
Our friends and family, or our family, can subscribe to you, which I think I just subscribed to both of them while I was doing it because.
Oh well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I wanted to just let you know that, and let the guys or our family know that they can go and show you some love.
Well, I'd greatly appreciate that.
Yeah,
really.
most definitely.
And that that's one thing that when we are talking in places like, yeah, I seen that video. I'm That's me. I was actually on the show Finding Bigfoot,
Oh yeah.
and they because me and my buddy Newsom, we was wanting answers, and we wasn't getting them from nobody. We didn't know what else to do, so I went on to BFRO and filled out a report, and they sent a guy named Jim Kerminsky. He come up and interviewed me. They send people out, and then if I guess if you ain't a nut, then they send, they'll come out and investigate and that kind of stuff. And Jim come out and I took him around and showed him my dad just a day or so before that had shot a couple of does up there during bow season, and I gutted them both at the same place. And these creatures will come in and carry those gut piles off, and it'll look like my wife. She's a cleaning freak, and it looks like she's been in there. There's not a leaf out of place. There's not a drop of blood. There's no deer hair. There's nothing. Everything looks like it's just been like an NCI crew come in and cleaned it up.
Wow.
Well, wait a minute, I forgot. I didn't mean my NCI podcast crew, but the show NC.
Right.
But anyway, that it just blew him away because they should have been two gut piles there that either the bears, the cats, or the coyotes got. But here they are. We found one leaf that had curled up like that with a couple drops of blood in it. Even though those deer only run like maybe 10 yards, every leaf that had blood on it where it had run was gone. They wasn't nothing nowhere.
Oh wow.
We found that little bit of blood in one leaf and one white hair where I'd gutted them. And that's when we started realizing that they're coming in and carrying the gut piles off. And before that, we didn't know. We just know that they come up missing. But then when you've got two of them and they're not been dragged, the hogs has not got in them and all of that stuff, then 2 + 2 equals 4, no matter how many times you do it.
Right. So, okay, I have a question for you, and it's not Bigfoot related, but I'm going to ask you anyway. So, the wild hogs, are you able to hunt and off them right on property, or do you have to catch them and release them like in a high fence?
No, you can shoot them right where they are. And the one that was coming in and digging up Newsom's yard, even though we had the Bigfoot encounter that first week, we did kill it the following week, and it was so big. And I'm a pretty good sized youngin', and Newsom was as big as I was, and we couldn't drag it even after we gutted it. We couldn't drag it. Luckily, it fell close enough to his property to where I could take a rope and hook to my truck and pull it out, and then we got it up on the rock wall with my truck. We pulled it and rolled it up on the rock wall, and then rolled it over into the bed of my truck because we couldn't lift it. But wild hog is the best eating you've ever eaten.
Wild hog is? Never had it. So it's on my list. It's on my list. I promise. I want to have some. And I've had a lot of things. Many years in Minnesota, and I'll explain a little bit later. But I have MT Paranormal Life has a question for you. It goes, would you expect to find deer hanging around these areas when Sasquatch are around? Meaning, do you think the deer or the Sasquatch off their own deer to eat? I think that's what he's asking. Have you ever seen that?
I've actually got a video that shows up here our Forest Service gates close on January the 1st. They'll close them off. You can't go behind them. Well, there's one that is about 8 miles in, to the gate from the main road where the main gate is. You go about, I think it's 8 miles back in there, and then you have to park at another gate and walk an hour and a half up into one of my hunting areas and research areas. And I have actually on January the 5th, and I'd have to pull the video up to see what year. You see this arm come up, and there's a deer standing in my trail camera watching it. This arm comes up and then comes back down, and then something bipedal. You can see the shadow moving through where the sun's shining. The sun shining and it's casting the shadow towards the deer, and that deer's watching that Bigfoot walk. There's no way that it was somebody. I mean, because you're talking, number one, deer season's closed, so there wouldn't be nobody in there deer hunting. And number two, it's so far back in there that if you can't go in and deer hunt, then why would you be going to start with?
Right.
You know, ain't nobody gonna walk. I'd say the whole thing would be close to 10 miles one way, and ain't nobody going in there to squirrel hunt. And I mean, that don't even make good sense. And but I actually got that on camera. That area, I didn't know what to call it, and since it happened, me and my buddy Newsom, he dropped me off at that area, and I walked up in, and he went on around the road, and we just bought some real bright flashlights from Walmart, and we went deer hunting. And I'm coming back out of the place I went, and I'm hog hunting on my way back out, and I get to a little old field, and I look down to where I have to walk, and I see a dull orange light moving around, like it's looking for something. I thought, well, why ain't he got his big bright light like I've got? I know he's got it with him because we made sure before we left the house. And so I turned my light on. By then it was getting dark, and I shined my light at it, and it goes off. And I thought, well, he'll be waiting on me. And I got down there, and I whistled for him. I said, come on, buddy boy, let's go. Nothing. And I thought, he's going to try to scare me. He's going to jump out here in a minute. And I whistled for him, and he never did respond. And I told him, I said, well, I'm going to the truck. Well, I get out there, and my truck ain't even there. He ain't even come back to me yet.
Oh, no.
And he comes out, and I tell him what happened. I load my stuff up, and I tell him, I said, I was coming out of the woods, and I seen a dull orange light, and I thought it was you. And he said, you ain't going to believe this. He said, I was sitting up here at the hill where I could see and talking to my wife, and I noticed something in your rearview mirror, and there's an orange light come from below the road. It come up in the road and stopped for just a little bit, and then went up into where I went. And I didn't know what orbs was. I just thought when you talk about orbs, you was talking, golf ball size. But this thing was about the size of it's bigger than a softball.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And I'd never had any kind of Bigfoot in there at all. No sign, no tree breaks, nothing like that. I had 23 different hogs on camera, and now I'm talking hogs over 200 pounds. I'm not talking about the little babies. I had over 23 full-grown hogs.
Wow.
That was running through there.
Oh, wow.
And that light comes in, and I ain't saying that light was Bigfoot. I'm just saying that after I saw that light, Bigfoot showed up. Because I go in hunting, and here's limbs 10, 11, 12 foot that's been snapped over like they do. Stuff broke over into my trail and all of that. And the hogs in that 1 year went from 23 down to 3.
Oh, wow.
The Bigfoot had a feast. That's what they did.
And they was 2 pregnant sows and a foal. And one of the sow had 8 little ones that was, they didn't weigh maybe 2, 3 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And in a week's time, she went from 8 down to 3.
Oh, wow.
So,
And-
pardon the pun, they were living high off the hog, right?
They was living high on the hog, that's for sure. Yeah. And I guess the secret's out. I ain't the only one that knows how good they are.
Right? So, my brother-in-law says, what's the biggest Bigfoot cast ever found? I'm thinking he's thinking of Bigfoot print. How?
The biggest one that I've ever got to cast was 16 inches.
Okay.
Me and Dwight found one over, I just growed up in the next county over from where I live now. And up in the same place where I was telling you about the little butt cheeks and the
Mm-hmm.
prints and all that stuff, we was up there and it was absolutely pouring the rain. I mean, I got wet through my rain suit. And we come up on an 18-inch track
Wow.
that is filling up with water, and I may have it right here. This is all my stuff that we use when we go to the shows and stuff, if I can find it right quick. But we found the 18-inch track that was filling up with water. We was that close behind it. I don't know why I didn't think to send you these pictures.
That's all right. Hey, Roger Blair. Nice to see you. My cousin wears a 16 size shoe. I think my son wears a 16 size shoe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a big one.
That's
And it looks like we casted it, but that's actually rainwater.
Mm-hmm.
What's up?
what size shoe do you wear, son?
15.
I wear a 12 and a half quadruple E.
I wear
Wow.
some 15 shoe.
Yeah, my son, we kind of nickname him Bigfoot because he's like 6'3" and 6'3" and about 300 and plus pounds and wears a
What we-
15 and a half shoe and
What we call a big old youngin'.
I'll remind you.
oh, sorry, 6'4". Sorry.
He said that's what they call a big old youngin.
A big old youngin'? Yeah. That's my son, a big old youngin'.
And we have also got pictures of Bigfoots in Cage Cove.
Mm-hmm.
And Jens probably don't know what that is. I'm sorry. I'm used to, closer around.
It's all right.
Cage Cove is part of the Smoky Mountain National Park.
Catch Cove.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can look it up. That it's part of the Smoky Mountain National Park, and they've been people gone missing in there.
Yeah.
We've actually had some run-ins with Bigfoots there, and I say the other one that I was trying to think of.
Have you ever been to the LBL?
Oh Lord, yeah, we just went this past November,
Oh, yeah.
and
How was that for you?
I loved it. I mean, and we do paranormal stuff too, but I ain't no paranormal person. I figure, it. If you dead, you dead, but evidently not.
Yeah.
We get up there, and
Dwight was talking you up on the paranormal. He's like, yeah, he's getting into that. I'm like, okay, we'll ask him about it.
yeah, it's. We get there and we pick up Adam Davies. I don't know if you know who that is. He's been on with Josh Gates and all of those guys on Discovery Channel, and I'm starstruck. When they asked me, said, "Can you pick up Adam Davies?" I said, "Oh, that's like the fella from TV." No, that is the fella from TV, and I'm like, I'm like a little kid. I'm all excited, and 30 minutes out of the way to pick him up, that ain't no problem. So we picked him up, and we get there late, and everybody gets out and say hey and introduce themselves and all that stuff. And they said, we're going to go look for orbs. Do you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, we're going, let's go. So, man, the NCI bunch loaded up in my truck, and we followed them to this graveyard. And I didn't know it.
Mhm.
But the next day, and I'll get into that in a minute, but it's where a massacre happened back in the 80s from a dog man killing a family in there. But we're at the graveyard. The graveyard's here. The road goes by it. There's a Forest Service gate, and behind that Forest Service gate is where the family got massacred. And we pulled up, and they told us that when we get there, we're going dark. No flashlights, no headlamps, none of that. We're just going to get out. Well, I got my thermal, and we're standing. I'm standing with my back to the graveyard, and I'm looking behind my truck, and here comes this black mass from the left-hand side, comes out into the road about 40 yards behind our truck. And I'm still watching it through my thermal, and I'm waiting, well, when's it going to turn so I can figure out what it is? You know, is it the hog, or is it a bear, or what is it? Well, it never did take no shape. And it went from the road, from the center of the road over to the right-hand side. And that's when I thought, well, I better holler at Greg Ogles. He's with Relic Films, and he was the reason we was down there filming. And so I hollered at him, and he come up there and got it on camera, and it's moving around intelligently. And everybody looks at it, and it's still just back there meandering around, and everybody goes back to look for their orbs. And I thought I felt something pull on my jacket, and I'm like, no, I'm in the LBL. You know, my brain's already getting to me because this place is supposed to be so far out there and all of that stuff. And in my brain, that's what I'm thinking. It ain't nothing. It's just my mind playing tricks on me. Well, it does it again, and it pulls me off balance.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And I take a step back, and I told my buddy, I said, something just pulled me backwards. And he said, I just had something in my ear, a female voice, and it said, hey, hey, hey. And when he didn't acknowledge it, I guess she decided she was going to pull on my coattail. And so that happened the very first night. And the next day, Greg says, I want you to go out and investigate that area because that's where the family got massacred. And so we get back up there and get to the park, got the same gate as that before. And we start out through there, and I've got Greg's camera equipment and all of that stuff. And we found a ripped up shirt, and we don't know, we ain't saying a booger or a dog man done it. It's just weird that we found a shirt that's been ripped up, and it's from looks like somebody that would work on the road crew, that's got neon green with the reflective stripes in it and everything. So that shirt is just shredded. We found some hair on the limb, but we also found some catfish bones there and some deer bones. Well, the lakes are a few miles away, so something had to bring the catfish from the lake up to there to eat it. And you can see where they had busted the rib bones on the deer open and got the marrow out of it and all of that stuff. So we start easing around and easing down into where the massacre happened. And I can't remember, it was either Jerry or Rob one. Here's a disembodied voice. And I did take my hearing aids this time because I thought, I'm going to LBL. I'm cranking them suckers up. And, I'm going to be like $6 million man. I'll be able to hear a gnat crawling at 500 yards. And so I had them cranked up, and I thought, well, I ain't really hearing nothing. And we get to listening where he heard it at. And we know there's nobody in there but us. I mean, because we're the only one at the gate. And we go on a little bit, and then if it wasn't Jerry to start with, it was Jerry the second time. Rob and Jerry were the first two to hear it, and so I'm recording, and all of a sudden we ain't been there 45 minutes, and the batteries are going dead. And he said these will last you at least 3 or 4 hours. And I was like, guys, the batteries are going dead, and I said, we'll finish up filming what we can, and then we'll go check out the graveyard. And I told him, I said, as we head back out of here, oh, and then George hears it. George Lunsford hears the disembodied voices.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still the one that ain't heard them yet. And I told them, I said, you guys walk, and I'll film you walking out. You know, it'll be good for a leaving shot. And they're walking maybe 30 feet in front of me, maybe a little more than that, enough to where I'm not hearing what they're saying. And all of a sudden I hear over to my left, I hear a man and a woman a talking. And I was like, guys, there's somebody over here talking. Here comes George. George takes off running over there. Of course, there wasn't nobody there, but all 4 of us at different times heard those voices. And we get back up to the graveyard. The batteries come back on the camera.
Yeah.
Of course.
And I'm like, I ain't a filming no more. I ain't, because it'd be, I'd turn it on and it'd go off. I'd turn on it, so we decided we was going to check out the graveyard. So me and Rob's are walking around, and Jerry and George is on the other end. And Rob said, something's not right. He said, I feel like I'm getting vertigo. And I said, you okay? And he said, no. He said, you got to get me out of here. So I get him back over to the truck, and I get him some water and stuff. And in a few minutes, he's like, I'm okay now. And he remembered that he had one of them SLS apps on his phone. So he pulls it out, and he's just scanning, and right where he started feeling sick, there's a stick figure there.
Oh yeah.
And it's like it's pitching a fit. And he pulls off of that and goes around. Nothing, nowhere else in the graveyard except George and Jerry. And he comes back to it, and it's still there. And I told him, I said, well, hang on. Let's just see how big that thing is. So I walk over there, and it's bigger than I am. And I get to looking, and I hollered for George and Jerry to come up, and whatever that stick figure was, it was still like it was on the warpath, jumping up and down and all that. And we got to looking at the grave, and the grave had been desecrated.
Oh, wow.
It was a Civil War soldier that was with the Union Army. He was with the Color Guard. And sometime when Bill Clinton was president, he had given him the Medal of Honor or whatever it was, had given him a medal, and they put a bronze plaque at the bottom of it. Well, where it should have told the unit he was with, it looks like somebody had brought an angle grinder in there and ground it off.
Oh wow.
Oh man.
So the best thing we could figure was that it was getting Rob's attention, so that showing us that its grave had been desecrated. That's the only thing we could figure out, because it wasn't nowhere except at that one grave.
Wow.
Well, okay, so MT Paranormal Life goes, those paranormal guys are weird. So he's a paranormal guy. So he's just saying that he's weird, just like most of the other paranormal guys are weird. And we love MT Paranormal. He's awesome.
Yeah.
John, my brother-in-law, goes, 2 questions. He goes, why does Sasquatch smell so bad? Or what's your reasoning, what you think that they stink?
It's a defense mechanism, just like a skunk.
Okay. And then, What is their primary food source, do you think, for a Sasquatch?
Here is it's wild hogs and deer, raccoons, just like a bear. Um, you, I can take you and show you some places where they've got trails coming from our research areas through the woods and going over into people's gardens and great big cornfields. And so when that stuff comes in, we've got a lot of wild food here, not just animals. We got, I don't know if you guys know what ramps are.
What?
Ramps,
Ram?
RAMPS.
Rams.
No.
It's like a wild onion, except it's real strong, and
Okay.
it grows in the woods. And I mean, we love them, and they'll make you stink. Lord of mercy. We used to get run out of school. I think that's the reason we eat them so much, because if you eat so much of them, when you sweat, your sweat will smell like them.
Mhm.
Okay.
And we'd eat a bunch of them and go to school, and the teachers would send us home for 2 or 3 days, and where we wouldn't have to go to school, and they didn't have to smell us. It worked good till Mom and Daddy figured out what we was doing, and then after that, it wasn't so much fun. But
Right.
we've got stuff like ramps, wild mushrooms, blackberries. Me and Dwight has actually found 6 of the old American chestnut trees
Oh yeah.
that
Oh,
have,
wow.
that have made it through the blight back in the late 1800s.
Mhm.
And we've got cheeky pins. They eat the Bigfoots and stuff will eat acorns and stuff just like deer do.
Mhm.
And but I'd say the main thing is just whatever they can get. Whether you have a lot of deer or a lot of hogs or raccoons
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of acorn trees around here, and when those things fall,
Oh my gosh.
the activity ramps up.
Mm-hmm. And we have the acorns trees that we have here. We have white oaks, red oaks, and mountain oak and chestnut oak, and they're all oak trees. It's just the white oaks are smaller, and then the chestnut oaks they get real big, and the mountain oaks get real big.
Heck, our dogs like the acorns outside.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. Our dogs go crazy for acorns.
Yep.
I'll tell you about me and Dwight and Bob Trent got called up to Saltville, Virginia.
Mhm.
This guy was having problems up there with Bigfoot, and he said, "I want you to come and make sure this is what I think it is." And I think he said he had like 400 acres that
Mhm.
was his hunting land, and he lived further up in Virginia, up near Richmond that way. But we was actually closer than he was. It took him like 6-8 hours to drive there, and we could make it in about 3.5.
Mhm.
And but he had a double wide and all of that stuff. And late overnight, something would come up and start slapping on the side of the double wide. And this is another one of them big old youngins. I mean, but he was scared to death. He wouldn't. He told us. He said, "I do not go outside after dark." He said, and not at all.
Mhm.
And so we got up there, and we actually got Dwight actually got the Bigfoot on video of walking a ditch line, and it'll walk that ditch line up and go in the guy's building. Open the lock. It's got one of them U-shaped locks on it. It's like we call them rent buildings,
Okay.
and so it'll open that up, and it would throw all this stuff around until it found the deer point, and then it would stand there and eat the deer point. And luckily, the night before we got up there, it had went inside, and you could see where the horn had fell around its foot,
Mhm.
and it looked like it had grabbed up a couple of handfuls because we followed it out of the building and around and all of that stuff. And his is showing us that, and he said, "I've got another place I want to take you." And we was gone about 2 hours. Well, when we left, we shut the building up and all of that. We come back, the building's standing open.
Oh, wow.
It was wanting more corn, and I guess where it had eat all the other corn, it thought since we'd been in there that we was leaving, putting more corn in there.
Yeah.
And we finally just had to tell him, if you don't want them on your property, then you're gonna have to quit putting the food out.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I've got to feed my deer and turkey. Okay, Bigfoot and feed, no Bigfoot, they'll move on. And but that was one of the fun ones. We actually got on 2 different videos. We got them on 2 different thermal videos.
Oh, that's
yeah.
cool.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you're just full of stories. We can listen to you all gosh darn night. This has been awesome. I want to get out to where you're at. I want to go see the mountains, obviously, but go have a Bigfoot excursion.
Yep.
We can do it.
Yep.
I'd love to.
I'm always up for that.
People ask, "Do you take people out?" No. Yeah, if they want to go. Well, how much do you charge? Charge.
Exactly. Charge?
I said, that's like me charging you to go out and sit in my backyard looking for UFOs. More than likely, you ain't going to see nothing. And I said, you don't see these things every time you go out.
Nope.
Exactly.
You only see them when they want you to see them.
Yep.
And
Or hear them, or smell them, or...
yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this. During the winter, and it's happened to me quite a few times, not only me, but some of the other guys. Everything's dead. All the leaves are off. Everything's down. Nothing's blooming. But in some areas, you'll come across the sweetest smelling, like the best smelling perfume you've ever smelled in your life. Have you noticed that any in the wintertime?
I've noticed that one time, and I couldn't tell where it was coming from. I just smelled it in the air, and there was a fresh snow down and everything, and I'm like, okay, where's that coming from? Because there's nothing alive out here that can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to know I ain't the only one, but when stuff happens, and that's one thing I love about doing podcasts and talking to other people and other researchers and all that stuff, because then you can, well, has this ever happened to you? And then you find out, well, yeah, that's happened to me. Have you ever noticed any metallic sounds out in the woods? It sounds like maybe something like something hitting on a pot and pans with a wood spoon or anything like that.
I haven't, but
No, but
we've heard people that have heard it.
But the lady that lets us go on her property, she was complaining about a noise that almost sounded like an oil well. The bar ching ching ching, and there's not one on her property, and there's not one on any of the adjacent properties.
Yeah.
So, I was like, okay, cool, we can go investigate that. Well, we went out there, and sure enough, you kept hearing it, and me and that lady walked over to where those noises were supposedly coming from, and there was nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've done that. Me and George got out of the truck, and we just got behind the Forest Service gate, and we heard coyotes start up. And then we heard a Bigfoot yell. And then it hushed. As soon as the Bigfoot, you could tell the Bigfoot and the coyote was in the same spot. And as soon as it started yelling, the coyote shut up. And we're walking in, we hear that metallic sound on our right-hand side. We go on in, do our stuff, change our stuff up, and we come back out, and we hear it on our right-hand side, which would have been our left-hand side walking in. So it switched from one side to the other, and I was back up in there with another guy, and we heard it. And it honest to goodness sounds like somebody beating on pots and pans. And another thing that I've got on my audio recorder, the place where the deer drive happened, about 2:30 in the morning, you hear what sounds like two hammerheads hitting, just a big tink.
Mm-hmm.
And what, 2:30 in the morning? And then up there in the area where we heard the other sounds, I was going through my audio recordings the other day, and I hear something that sounds like a doorbell on a vehicle. Well, there's no way you can get vehicles up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in with the guys, and we was up there, and I found out they was mimicking Rob's insulin pump. When his insulin would drop or go too high, it would beep.
Oh yeah.
And they was mimicking that beat, because the day that it happened, none of us was up there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also you could hear the katydids and all that stuff starting to holler. And Rob's never been up there that late of the evening.
Mm.
And he's never been without me, because he lives like 3 hours away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so the couple of times that he's been up there, they've picked up and started mimicking his insulin machine.
Oh wow.
I was going to ask that question too. Do you think they mimic? And you just answered it. Yep.
We've
I
had
knew that answer anyway, but I wanted to throw it out there for the people that might not know that.
have you got time for me to tell you one more?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. In the same area where we got bluff charged, this past October, we just got through with the South Carolina Bigfoot Festival. And I had all my NCI guys, Rob, Jerry, George, and Brian Sawyer. We was all at the festival.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't take our guns and stuff, our pistols with us, because we didn't want to leave them at the vehicle, at a festival. And we decided we'd run home and grab our equipment and then run back and go to that area just to show them where we got bluff charged and all of that kind of stuff. So we come out and we stop and get us a bite to eat, and we're absolutely killed. And I told them, I said, well, I tell you what, let's do it. Instead of running all the way home and all that stuff, let's just go up there. We've got flashlights. It ain't 80 yards from the truck. And so we get up there, and Rob's wife calls, and they've got one on their property they call Junior. And Junior, while Rob was going to the festival, Junior started carrying rocks and piling them up inside the barn, inside their goat barn.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's talking to him with that. And I told him, I said, you just talk to them, to her, here's a flashlight, just come around the road. And like I say, this was in, all the leaves was down and all of that stuff. So as soon as me and Brian and his girlfriend step out of the truck, to our left, we hear a Bigfoot holler. And in my brain, I was like, thank you, Lord, because there ain't nothing as bad as taking somebody somewhere and you tell them how you run into boogers and then they ain't nothing. So as it hollered, and I was like, okay. Well, it hollers again. And Brian's like, man, you wasn't a kid. They up here. So we walk around the road and we get out there and we see something up, and I should have known better from hunting in there, but I was like, no, I don't think that's eyeshine. I think that's a house away off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm showing them where the tree, where the thumb was wrapped around and all that stuff, and showing them. We found where we got bluff charged. We found about a 14-inch track and all of that stuff. And we start back and we see we'd been gone maybe 20, 30 minutes, and we see Rob's light coming around towards us. And I hollered at him. I said, "Hey, buddy boy, come on. We're going to walk around the road just a little bit and then get out of here." And he said, "We ain't got nothing for him." And I'm like, "Ain't got nothing for what?" And so we keep walking out to the main road and where he's at. And he walks up, and I said, "We're going to ease right around the curve just to look around a little bit." He said, "We ain't got nothing for him." And I said, "We ain't got nothing for what?" He said, "That 6.5 foot dog man I saw right back there. He was coming above my truck. There's a little old knoll right there, and it drops off down the mountain. And him being behind us, he was coming around, and that thing was coming up out of there to get in behind us."
Oh
And
my goodness.
and so he warped his flashlight around and shined his flashlight on it, and he said it had blue eyes, blue eyes shining.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it takes off down through the woods. And I was like, "Well, we ain't got none of our pistols, and we've done and got a Bigfoot on this side yelling, and then the dog man." And all my counters has been of the day. I've never had one after dark.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to walking back towards the truck, and I look on that knoll above my truck, and I see two big orange eyes are shining. And I'm like a kid in a candy store, and I'm like, "Guys, look, I shine." And because I'm one of them, if I don't know anything about it or it's never happened to me, then I'll keep quiet about it. And everybody's asking me, "Have you ever seen the eye shine?" And I'm like, "No, I ain't never seen no eye shine." But here's these orange eyes are shining with no light on them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm, like I said, a kid in the candy store, and they're like, "We better get out of here." "No, I shined. I'm looking at I shine." And I put my headlamp on it, and when I did, it would turn its head.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I take my lamp off of it, you could see the eyes starting to glow, and they'd come back, and there's the eyes again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've got that going on, and it's between us and the truck. Behind the truck, up on the ridge, we hear something trying to sound like a hoot owl, but you could tell it wasn't a hoot owl. And so we've got the one on this side. You can hear it coming through the pine thicket, the limbs and stuff popping. The dog man's behind us on this side. We got one in front of us, between us and the truck, and we got one behind the truck that's making all them owl noises. And I've hunted enough. I know good and well, as much as we was talking in the flashlights and stuff, they wasn't no owl stay around there. It ain't going to do it. But it keeps getting closer to the back of the truck. And I told him, I said, "If I can get in the truck, then I can turn my fog lights on that roll bar, and I can light the one up on the little knoll."
Mm-hmm.
So I get back there, and I get to hollering back at the one doing the owl call. And I owl called back, and I can tell from hunting in there that it's coming down. And once it gets to where it can see the truck good, it quits moving. It just stays right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to messing with it. Well, by then they had walked up behind me, and we decided we'd better go. So we pulled down the road probably 300-400 yards to a bend in the road and pull over. And we rolled the windows down, and right where we left from, it sounds like two dogs were barking.
Oh yeah.
But there wasn't no dogs in there. And one of them was a high pitched, and the other one was real deep, and it would go oof oof. And on the third time it would go oof, like that. You could tell it wasn't a dog. I mean, and you could tell it was exactly where we just left from. And we're standing there listening to it, and it done the same bark, not like a house dog, It would do the same three barks. The deep one would, and then the higher pitched one would do the same three barks. And we listened to that for a few minutes, and Rob said, "Let's try something." And I said, "Okay." He steps out, and he does a whoop. And as soon as he does a whoop, they shut up just like that.
Oh wow.
And I don't know if they thought that another one down the road was telling them that we was gone, and whoop, that it's all clear or whatever. But
Hmm.
they shut up. But hearing them mimic the owl and them dogs, that was, and getting to see my first eye shine, that absolutely tickled me to death.
Well, Mr. Dills, we have kept you on here for 2 hours. It does
Oh, I'm
not.
sorry.
No. It does not feel like 2 hours. Believe me. But it's 9 o'clock.
We have
I understand.
we have one more viewer question.
Yeah, we have one more question.
Okay.
Okay, so Belinda, and now she's from New Zealand, right? She said, I had a Bigfoot researcher from New Zealand say that they eat roots of trees for the nutrients. Do you think that's why they're upside down trees rammed into the ground?
It could be. I mean, we don't see those here, but I don't see why not. It'd be easy picking. You turn it upside down, and that that's one of them things. I have no idea, but it makes sense.
Yeah, we had uprooted trees down in southwest Oklahoma, and that's when I took her out to the refuge for the first time, and we found some of those uprooted trees, and I was pointing out where those uprooted trees came from because there was little holes in the ground the size of those roots, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as I pointed that out, I put my finger right near the tree roots.
Mhm.
Yeah, on film now. In person we couldn't hear it, but on film you heard. "Roar."
that
Yeah.
ain't nothing like getting growled at, are they?
Yeah, that was kind of freaky after we made it home okay, and then I listened to that and I'm like, listen.
That if I hate to keep you, but I've got one
No,
more
that's
quick
okay.
paranormal.
Mhm.
We're investigating Miss Rachel's property, her mom's property, and our trail cameras. We would go to check them, and the card would be punched out to where that it couldn't record. It would have us on there walking away, and then nothing, and the door wouldn't have been opened, or whatever was doing that wasn't opening the door on the trail cameras, because if it was, it would have caught the movement and made a picture or a video of it.
Right.
And we had it walk away from the camera, go back 5 minutes later, and the card punched out again.
Oh
You-
my gosh.
You can find that on my YouTube stuff
Okay.
Okay.
or
Wow.
TikTok, whichever one you want to go check.
Well, what do you have coming up next? I know you said next week you're going to someplace. Tell the people where you're headed next and what you got planned on.
We are going to, and this is one of the rare times that I get to just be a observer, but we're going to the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Next year, they called me, and I didn't get the thing in time, but next year we'll be part of the round table, and also we'll have our evidence booth set up there next year.
Nice.
And but we're getting ready to go there. That's me and my wife's not missed one yet. We've got every shirt every year, and I think we go more for the shirts than we do anything else. But
Hey. Well, if any of our friends are near Gatlinburg next week or this coming weekend, you guys go see Tim Dills and his wife and all the fun parts going on at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference up there this week. So,
Yep.
but we truly enjoyed our interview with you. This has been so much fun.
well, thank you. I've had the blast, and in my brain, my brain's going, well, you forgot to tell them this, you forgot to tell them that, but that's okay.
Well, we would love to have you back. We would love to have you back.
Anytime you want me, and the power don't go out, I'll be right here.
Sounds good.
We told Dwight that we'd like to have the both of y'all on at the same time one of these days. And
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
oh, yeah, we're looking forward to that. I mean, we enjoyed this interview immensely, and it's been it's been an honor meeting you, and I personally, I love watching your videos. So
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I just keep it simple.
hey, simple's a
Simple's
good way
the
to
best.
go. Yeah.
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 Well, thank you so much, Tim. You have a blessed one. You have safe travels to Gatlinburg, and you're part of the family now. So,
Well, I appreciate it. And the same thing, if yous are ever this way, honestly, you ever this way, then we will get together.
Yes,
And
sir.
hopefully I'll show you some big mountains.
Yes.
Yeah, you just made her happy.
Yes.
We're going to drive 48 hours just to go look at some mountains. But come on, we'll show you some mountains.
Sounds good to me.
Yep. All right, man. You take care.
Thank you, guys. Have a great evening.
Yes, thank you so
You too.
much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, you guys,
Trying to figure out how to get out.
Yep.
that 2
I know
hours
there's
went really
exit
fast.
button somewhere.
It really did. And we loved it. We loved every bit
Oh,
of it.
yeah.
And thank you so much, Tim, for coming in and showing us some of your pictures and your evidence and telling us all your stories. And
Yeah.
wow. And I'm going to see those damn mountains. You bet on it. You bet on it.
Yeah, he's got some great stories. He's got some great videos. Y'all need to go check them out.
Yeah. I'll post another link here.
And if you haven't subscribed to his channels, go ahead and do so. Also, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, go ahead and do so.
Yes, that would be awesome.
But yeah, you guys can check us out every Wednesday night on YouTube.
For Bigfoot and stuff.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, at 6 p.m. Central. This show will be on intermittently when we have someone
Yes.
that can't be interviewed during our Wednesday show. So that's why we started this. So we look forward to seeing you guys again on another Saturday night coming up soon.
Yep.
But until then, until Wednesday, y'all take care, be safe.
And keep squatching, everybody. Have a good one.
Good night.
We love you.
Love y'all.
Welcome to the place where we find the proof you seek. O.C.S.T. Talking cryptids and the paranormal. You hear the whoops, you hear the growls. You watch the woods, you've seen it prowl. O.C.S.T.